Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 4 of our Chit-Chat podcast. And today we have our special guest with us, Reverend Ho. For today's episode, we will be conversing on the topic of depression and mental health, and also touching on some anxiety issues. And I think it's good that we have Reverend Ho Hon Yan with us, a very experienced minister in the Methodist Church. Maybe Reverend Ho, for those who don't know you, maybe you can introduce yourself a bit to our audience who do not know you.
Okay, I'm the retired pastor of the Methodist Church, CAC, Chinese Annual Conference. Now, for the years I served as the senior pastors of MEC Chinese Methodist Church, I experienced, a lot of things in the aspects of ministry, of course, and especially in particularly the time when I suffer from depression. You still can imagine the pastor suffer from depression. What kind of stuff is that? How can a pastor suffer from depression? So over the years of my ministry, there was a certain years or 2 or 3 years, I suffer from depression. So what I want to introduce to you is I am a retired pastor and also a pastor suffer from depression. So hope that this topic, so-called depression or anxiety, can help you a little bit to know more about depression, whether you are Christian or non-Christian, whether you are a church staff or pastor. I think this Chit-Chat topic will help you to know more about it.
And that's why we invited Reverend Ho today, is because it's more to share from the perspective of his experience. Disclaimer, not to provide professional help. I think we need to put this disclaimer. But I think, like what Reverend Ho mentioned, this topic is very important, and it's something that only in the recent years we begin to talk about it more, because back in the past, it used to be a taboo, to tell people, to tell people that you are facing a mental health issue, or I have depression, and I think people dare not tell. I know this is a little bit on the spot but what do you think? Why the change in the recent years in the way we treat this topic of depression?
Actually, depressions, the so-called depression or anxiety depression, has been with us as human for the past and even now and even the future. That means people don't know about depression in the past. People don't know about depression in the past. That's why nobody realized the sickness you suffer is depression or was depression, because they think that you're just feeling down or sad, not happy. But you can see that because of the progress of the medical science, especially the so-called neurologists or neuroscience, the study of the human brain. And they found out there's so-called a sickness by the name of depression. Becomes a sickness of the brain. They recognize even the brain will fall sick. But it wouldn't happen in the past because of the scientific study was so poor in terms of this so-called the brain study. But the modern day, the brain study is very, very advanced. Study the brain. When people talk about depression, they can't understand why the brain falls sick. They only believe the heart will have heart attack. The heart will get sick. The kidney will get sick. Your liver will get sick.
Yeah.
But it will never come to a term called brain sick. The brain will get sick. Or maybe you think of brain getting sick, maybe it's a stroke or a tumor. No. So depression simply means your brain is sick. Not as simple as, oh, I feel not happy, emotionally down, things like that. Your brain is really sick, just like your heart is sick, your kidney is sick, your liver is sick, or your pancreas is sick. So the brain will get sick. Now, we have to give our appreciation to this invention, to the study of the modern medical science, to study the brain. So it helps us to know more about depression. That's why now people are getting more conscious about this sickness, so-called depression.
I think more awareness as well. Not just outside, but also from the church side. You know, last time I always remember if someone comes into the church many years ago, if someone comes into the church, and I don't know if this could be your experience, and then they say they have depression, the very first thing that they will think is spiritual oppression.
Or demon possession.
Demon possession. You know. And I think I'm glad that today we are moving, beyond just diagnosing people with demonic possession. But I think now as we switch to allow you to share some of your experiences going through depression, maybe we start off with this question of, were there any sort of signs? Like before we get sick, let's say I know I'm coming down with a flu, you start sneezing 2-3 days before, you start feeling the chills. So these are the signs that tell you I'm sick, but what were some of the signs that you felt before?
Okay. Now let me put it this way. All of us, you and me and all of us, we have so-called emotion or feeling.
Yeah.
So we thank God for that kind of things God created in our mind, in our body, create feeling. And off and on, once in a while, we'll feel down, not happy. Maybe in the morning, you'll feel down, or you'll feel good. At nighttime, you have a different kind of feeling. And you have this so-called Monday blues also. You know about Monday blues, because people get very tired when they start work on Monday. So you have Monday blue. It simply means all of us will be depressed once in a while. You agree with me or not? These sort of things. I think you must have a clear mind about this. The topic so-called depression actually can classify into two categories as simple as that. One is a normal person still have so-called time of depression. It simply means feeling sad, feeling down, not happy. Yeah. But when you talk about depression in terms of medical sickness, then it's a different topic to discuss with. So when you talk about symptom, it's also something like this. Symptom, when you have this symptom, so-called not feeling happy, down, or feeling sad, okay, if just something you need to realize, but sometimes it will go off maybe 1 or 2 hours, or maybe 1 or 2 days. You go for a movie, a tour, travel, and do shopping,
it
or
goes
makan,
away.
you go away. You feel okay again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's normal.
Yeah.
That's normal. However, when these kinds of so-called symptoms, signs, continue for weeks and even for months, let's say 1 month, then you need to be aware. It's something, it's signals, symbol, it's a signals to warn you, you may have depression. So the period of so-called sadness, the feeling of down and sadness is important. You must monitor yourself,
Yeah.
So, like sadness is one of the very common symptoms of depression. Insomnia, cannot sleep, no appetite, no appetite, and then you feel sad without any reason, you cry without any reason, and then you have all kind of discomfort in your body,
Phantom
phantoms,
pains.
headache,
Yeah.
stomach pain. Huh? And one more thing is your heart will beat irregularly. The so-called your heartbeat, as simple as that. Everyone, I think heartbeat is important in our life, but sometimes your heartbeat irregularly. That means the rhythm is not constant. You can feel that, that is something, is the anxious reactions of your feeling of your body will affect your heart.
Okay.
So, this is also one of the symptoms of depression. So when you have all these things, so-called symptoms, it continue more than a month or 3 or 4 weeks, you better go and consult a doctor. Most of us will go for a GP, and the doctor, so-called a GP, will tell you you better go and see a psychiatrist.
I see.
You better go and see, because I think the doctor find out that you have depression. Of course, this GP can help you also. You just prescribe the antidepressant for you, but you better seek a specialist, so-called psychiatrist, in order to have a better cure of your sickness.
Yep. So for your situation, was it like that?
Yeah,
You
same thing.
had all this prolonged.
Yeah. Start with stomach pain. Pain in the sense that, if had so-called this ulcer, this they come out. Insomnia, heartbeat, the pattern of heartbeat is irregular, and then no appetite, and very down mood. So you can see that all these symptoms last a couple of weeks. Actually, it's not normal.
Okay.
So I consult a GP, and then later I consult a psychiatrist. That's how I start the journey of so-called coping with my depression.
Yeah.
It's down the road is about 2 to 3 years. It's not one day take a Panadol and you heal your headache. Cannot.
Yeah.
No, that's not depression.
True. It's
Take years, off and on. You come back, and then it seems it's okay, but suddenly you come back again. You move forward, you move 3 steps, and backward 2
2
steps.
steps.
So there's something funny about depression.
Yeah.
So you need to realize the symptoms, and then the period of so-called to get cure or healing takes time. So be patient. Be patient.
Yeah. How tough was it on a scale of 1 to 10 going through the period of recovery?
It depends on the so-called the seriousness of your depression. See, because even depression has different levels.
For your case?
For my case, I think it's about 7,
7.
not 100, not 10. If 10, I die already. People commit suicide.
Yes. Yep.
So, yeah, you know that if you have a very serious attack by depression, if you can't get this medical help in times of need, that's why people suffer from depression, die, suicide, jump from 16th floor, 17th floor, and die.
Yep.
So I think I wouldn't, not serious, go to that stage, but it's so-called, something is in the middle range.
So during your time of depression, it never reached that point where you had thoughts of...
Suicidal thought?
Yeah.
No.
You never reached that stage?
No.
Thank God
for it.
Thank God. Yeah. I mean, now looking back, what do you think were some of the trigger points that triggered? Because I presume this happened quite early on in your ministry. So what were some of the trigger points for your depression?
Many triggers, many reasons. You ask the psychiatrist or your doctor, this that everything seems to be possible to trigger you. So even this expert, this consultant, can't give you a precise answer. I think it's quite normal that in terms of this whole diagnosis. People always ask doctor, why? If you, I think when your doctor is smart, they'll tell, oh, maybe like that, or maybe that.
Yeah.
So I think I don't have any special trigger. As I said before, the primary reason is the brain gets sick.
Okay.
Your brain is sick. Your brain gets sick. Then you might ask, why your brain? How do I know my brain gets sick? why your this gets sick, that gets sick organ in the body? Or maybe this, maybe that. But I mean, the brain gets sick simply because the brain. I should make this statement in a so-called quite something I want to tell you is not a very professional way, as I said just now. But I just want to tell you something about the brain. I'm not an expert on brain study, okay? I'm not a neurologist. But my doctor told me, you see, why the brain gets sick. The brain gets sick simply because the brain doesn't work well. Then I asked, what do you mean it doesn't work well? Because the brain cannot control the release of so-called the hormone of the body. Hormone. Another term for it is our chemical. Our body has a lot of chemical,
Yep.
If you don't have chemical, we die already.
Yeah.
What kind of chemical? Very common. We heard about this serotonin. Serotonin is a chemical. If you having a so-called low level of serotonin, you get depression. Serotonin is one of the trigger. The shortage of serotonin, this hormone so-called, is the trigger of depression. It's the modern science, the modern medical science proof that.
Okay.
Serotonin. Serotonin is something not from the brain, but the brain will help you to release that kind of hormone in order to make you feel good. Feel good. If serotonin is not enough, shortage of it, the level is not enough in the body, then you'll feel down. You'll feel bad. You'll feel sad.
Okay.
So in a way, actually our life is controlled by all these hormones.
All these chemicals
Chemical.
in the brain and the
Chemical.
body.
Why people got thyroid? Because that kind of hormone is a shortage of kind of hormone. That's why it got thyroid.
Yep.
Why people got like menopause? Ladies to 40 or 50, menopause. Menopause is a symptom when hormone imbalance occur in the body. I mean, there is a natural stage. Most of the women will reach that stage. But behind that, the trigger of that so-called menopause is the imbalance of the hormone. But it take maybe years, then the hormone become balanced. Then you need medical so-called help from doctors, from medicine and things like that.
Yep.
So you ask me what trigger? Well, maybe work, stress, they can be a trigger, but I don't know. I'm not too sure about that.
I see.
Because of this, 1993, my sister passed away. My third sister. I have three elder sisters. One of the sisters, third sister, passed away. Well, I shared this with my doctor. I said, well, maybe it's one of them. Also, maybe. It's quite sad, I think of it. Then, at the end of 1993, my sister passed away on 1993, early 1993. At the end of 1993, I suffered from depression already. So, the doctor related that depression with that event. We said maybe. I said, okay, since it's maybe. But whether because of that event or this event or the stress in the work or the job, because last time I served in the seminary full time. I still serve in the church, not full time, but it's is something, can kill you already. And 2 jobs, as a seminary lecturer and also a pastor of a church.
Yeah.
Just think of it. You pastor, Monday got, enjoy life.
Seminary lecturers no off day on Monday?
I got staff meeting. Our principal, very smart. Okay, since you because they know that most of us are pastoring the church. You pastor, Monday off. Come back to seminary, I have Monday staff meeting.
Okay.
That means I have no day off.
Yeah. True.
Hey, it's not 1 year, it's almost 15 to 20 years I did, So I shared this with my psychiatrist. I said maybe due to stress, overwork, things like that. Also maybe. So, what can you tell about trigger? There are plenty of trigger, 1,000 triggers point. Who else? So, I can summarize into a couple of so-called triggering now. One is the family history. But not me. Maybe because my mother has that kind of mood problem. But because of, is it the real reason for that? I don't know.
Yep.
Family history. And then, if you take certain medicine,
It can trigger
it could trigger depression. Because the side effect of that medicine is depression.
Depression. Okay.
So also watch out, you ask your doctor when you take certain medicine.
Yeah.
That thing is, as I said, stress. You can't cope with stress, pressure. So, and then the fourth thing is so-called the sudden happening, so-called the accident. Like myself, my daughter, my sister passed away.
Yep.
So it's kind of unexpected things. It can trigger. So this kind of events in your life, it happen off and on. So-called the losses. You lost something, you lose something, you lose this and lose that, will cause depression. So I think basically these are the 4 areas will cause depression, trigger the depression. But behind all these things, I still believe that off and on, once in a while in our life, maybe you just consider that our brain will get sick without any reason. Just like your heart will get sick. You got heart attack. Then you say, because of this, because I really don't know, because this may not be true, because there are a lot of people who work very well, live very well, and they still got heart attack. Why?
Yep. True.
So, watch out basically, as I said before, if your symptoms, so-called symptoms, last for a month, you better consult this expert consultant, that's why psychiatrist, and they will diagnose you, and then you'll find out whether you have depression or not. Then you put you in the antidepressant bill.
Yeah. Now, speaking of pills, I'm sure throughout part of your recovery you also requires some form of medication.
Okay, yeah, sure.
We always talk about people who take psychiatric medicine. Sometimes, like I said, this in the past, this is a taboo. And sometimes to a point people dare not tell that they are on antidepressants or I'm eating medicine to control my emotions. And sometimes until today, people keep it a secret until they have to tell. How do we change this taboo? Especially now when we talk about depression being a very common experience, a very common thing for a lot of people today. Yeah, and true. If this continues to be a taboo, it's very difficult.
Yeah, I know. Actually, it's a struggle, I can understand.
Yep.
People suffer from depression. They get so-called cure and healed by this so-called psychiatrist, by doctor. And they just stop taking medication. They think that they are okay. Without letting the doctor know, because they become himself a doctor already. Yeah. They stop without the advice from the doctor. The doctor, these sort of things, I can tell you, if you look into the matter from the other perspective, it simply means, let's say when you have high blood pressure, you have to continue to take high blood pressure pills for your life,
Yeah.
Agree or not?
Yep. True.
If you have diabetes, you have to take the diabetes pill or metformin and whatever, Jordan Stowe for life. You cannot stop. Actually, there are a lot of medication you cannot stop.
Yeah.
But you just take it,
Yeah.
and we wouldn't question about it.
True. And it's not even a taboo.
It's not taboo. Why antidepressant is a taboo?
Yeah.
Just because of our mind. We don't understand. Once you understand, you can accept that just taking high blood pressure pill or the diabetes pill.
Yeah. So I think awareness lah.
You
Awareness.
aware, and then you accept it.
Yeah.
The point is you must understand why you get depression and how to deal with the depression. So medication, just like you take medicine for taking care of your high blood pressure, the same things. So antidepressant pill is just like your high blood pressure pill. You cannot stop unless a doctor tell you to stop. If not, you cannot stop. Once you stop, you come back. No, definitely. Don't think that you stop, you're okay, you stop. There's no such easy way as with my own so-called observation. Even some of the church members, they consult us, consult Simu. Why my depression come back? I said, did you stop your medication? Oh yeah. I said, that's a problem. You cannot simply stop.
Yeah.
You must continue
True.
to take the medicine, antidepressant pill. Unless the doctor said, even the doctor won't ask you to stop. What the doctor will tell you, reduce, bit by bit, and then as a bottom line. No more reduce, that's it, continue to take. Or maybe morning no need, or nighttime you still have to take. You have to take years, I tell you.
Yeah. So with more with more awareness, with more understanding. And also for those who are currently healthy in their brain and emotion, I think we also need to take a more compassionate stand towards those who are on medication, for this kind of depression issues, mental health issue, and anxiety. And there's something that I think it's good to use this platform to sort of answer it once and for all. Because sometimes people do ask, is depression a sign of oppression, demonic oppression? I think it's good that we have a very senior minister in a pastoral field who is able to give us proper advice. I'm still very junior.
Well, let me put it in this way, Matthew. As something not only on the mental issue. Sometimes when you get sick, Christian get sick.
Yep.
The first thing in their mind is, well, maybe you are demon possessed.
Yeah.
Not only depression, not only the mental problem, mental sickness.
Yeah.
So this kind of thinking pattern, I think you need to transform.
Okay.
Transform in the sense that why we always think of Satan so powerful? It seems that Satan, the demon, is more powerful than God, no?
Yeah.
In the sense, you think of every time you fall sick, because of Satan. I think that is a very extreme thing. Maybe we study the New Testament too much. Because in the New Testament, Jesus' time, the Jews consider sickness is from Satan.
Yep. Yeah.
You study New Testament background, Of course, I don't want to talk about that, New Testament background. But, some things I want to highlight is, before you make judgment whether that sickness is from the devil or from human problem or your physical problem, I think as a pastor we must be very alert and careful before you make that kind of so-called observation. Don't simply give your judgment. You are from demon possessed.
Yeah.
And that.
Yep.
So we have a lesson on how to differentiate
Discern the spirits.
the reason of the Holy Spirit is from demon, depression, let's talk about depression, or your physical problem,
Yeah.
a physical brain issue. Of course, today is not that, you come to that topics of so-called spiritual discernment.
Yep.
But I think the first thing is don't put your so-called your judgment, your diagnosis so fast without really consider all kinds of possibilities.
Yeah. Don't jump to that immediate
You
conclusion.
don't jump into that immediate so-called answer. You are demon process or whatever.
I think this is a problem of over spiritualizing.
It's very
everything.
very hurting. People, I'm a process, demon process. No, so I don't want to talk about that issue. There's another topic to talk about that. Just think of it. If this fellow is demon possessed, and you pray, it's so simple. No need to consult psychiatrist. You pray, then the demon will go away. Because it's demon possessed, it's spiritual attack.
Yep.
The only thing deal with spiritual attack is not from antidepressant pill. It's from your prayer, from the words of the God, from the words of the Bible.
Yep.
So if pray and you study the Bible with this guy, this patient, and he's still not well, then I think 90% is not for demon. If it's demon, what kind of demon is it? The demon can overcome prayer. Wow, this demon very powerful. So, the conclusion is very simple. It's not from demon. It's not demon process.
It's time to pass on to someone else.
So you better. So first of all, what I want to tell you is, friends, no harm of praying or use the word of God to comfort, to help. But ultimately, what I would like to tell you is, I think 99%, maybe 1%, 99% is not demon possessed. Maybe this patient looked like demon possessed, but so over a certain procedures, that means that's a prayer or so-called counseling, you find out that it's not demon possessed. The more you understand this patient, then you know the reason.
Yeah.
So you must talk, you must so-called counsel him or her to know more about it before you make a judgment. You jump into that conclusion, it's demon process. So as I said, 99% is not demon process. It's, even though it seems like demon process, but no. Then what you do? Refer him to a consultant, psychiatric consultant.
Yep.
Just most of the time I did that in my pastor ministry. I refer because I have a very, I find it's very good, very helpful, very efficient, very good doctor. I always refer the patient to this doctor and consult him.
Yep. True.
Because I can only go up to a certain level because you talk about these professional things, the therapies, you have to seek consultant.
Yeah. I think this advice of seeking help, and also as a pastor, don't think you can deal with everyone's problem. I think this advice was something you gave to me many years back when I first came in. Don't be a messiah. The messianic
It's
syndrome.
a messianic symptom. So you learn to refer. Reference is one of our pastor ministry.
Yes.
Don't think that you know everything.
True.
When you come to certain things that you really don't know.
Yeah.
Especially mental health issues.
Yeah. Especially health issues.
Yeah. Maybe you know a little bit. You'll get some answer from the Google, from the internet, but you better consult these professional people.
Yeah. True. I think we are running short on time for this episode. But then I think before we end, maybe what else? What can we do now as we want to bring more awareness? What can we do as a church or as individual Christians to help those around us, with facing such issues?
Actually, as a matter of fact, from this WHO, World Health Organization, and this organization has classified the second killer. First killer is heart attack. Second killer is depression.
Yep.
According to this World Health Organization. You can see from this statistic, depression become more and more serious in our modern time. There are some misconception about depression. I want to highlight that. So in order to tell our members, I want to highlight certain things. Misconception. That means wrongly perceive on perception, wrongly understand. It's nothing to do with gender. Nothing to do with age. Are these old people or women? No.
Or midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis. No. Young girl, young man, even kids suffer from depression nowadays.
Yep.
So, nothing to do with gender, nothing to do with age, nothing to do with boys, girls, and nothing to do with whatever background you have. Each one of us will be attacked by depression. So, that's why the church need to be very serious about this issue. But unfortunately, as I look around churches in Malaysia, I don't know about English church. I talk about Chinese churches. We're still not aware the seriousness, the seriousness of depression.
Yep.
I don't want to talk about others. But thank God for Mega Church, we have organized a couple of times of special talks, medical talks on depression, by a psychiatrist on the town.
Yeah.
I think you know about it.
Yep.
Yeah. So at least we do something, and then Simu and myself, especially Simu, open the counseling door for those who suffer depression, because her husband suffered from depression. And she didn't suffer from depression, but she did a lot of counseling. I'm not good in counseling. That's why that's areas I surrender. I don't have patience to counsel people. I always, I try to provide some information about depression, especially the anti-depression pill, because I think I know a little bit of the anti-depression pill. Okay. Which one is effective, which one is not, according to my own response to anti-depression pill. It's not one pill you can solve your problem. The doctor will give you a couple of pills, to test you,
Yeah.
So there's something like that high pressure pill. So I provide some so-called the knowledge of anti-depression pill to Simbo. My area is pastoral area. So church, I will tell you, church, your pastor will suffer from depression. I don't know about Matthew, when it's turn. Hopefully no. But, this book, I tell you, this is the second edition of my book, Sing Lu. If you want to read Chinese, if you can read Chinese, I want to recommend you to read this book. This is written by me many years ago. And then it's about depression, my journey of depression. As a pastor suffers from depression. So I wrote this book. It's Chinese, and this is the second edition. And why second edition? Why? This book was published in Sarawak. The first book was published here under MEC, Chinese Methodist Church. But the second book was published by Sarawak Chinese Annual Conference. They find out this book is very helpful. There's no Chinese books so far. Translation, yes, but not one first hand, not translation. I'm the first one.
Okay.
From a pastor point of view, in Chinese, the Sarawak Chinese Annual Conference, they get more and more pastors suffer from depression. As I said just now.
Yep.
So he asked me to let him publish this book in Sarawak. So I said, okay, never mind. That's good. So this is the second edition about depression from a pastoral point of view. So when you are interested, I still have about 100 copies in Mega Church. You can ask Rosie, our staff. You can get one free of charge. A monk, a Buddhist monk, read one of this book And he responded very well. He said, in our Buddhist cycle, the monk also suffer from depression. I said, I won't be surprised.
Yeah, everyone can suffer.
I suffer depression. Yeah. What happened? Anything special about monk? So Pastor, can I share this book with my Buddhist colleagues? Of course, sir. Go ahead. Well, I'm so surprised. It's not a thick book, but it's a very small book. But I find it's very helpful, especially to pastor, because we listen from a pastoral point of view. But it's also good for members to know about it, because in terms of the depression theory, a theory of depression, whether it's pastoral or lay people or non-ordinary people, it's the same. It's the same. Same category, same reason.
Yep.
So the church can do a lot of things. You organize a talk.
Create awareness.
Create the awareness.
Yeah.
And then you provide counseling. There are some things you can do, there are some things you don't do. That is important. You do, as I said, awareness and counseling. You can do a lot of things. Provide all this so-called opportunity for members to consult you if they suffer from depression. They know the way. You open the door, as I say, you open the door. But there are things you shouldn't do. Like, if there are people suffering from depression, as I say, as you say just now, you ask me, don't simply jump in the conclusion of your demon process. And ask the pastor to cast out the demon. I say, don't do that, because it's hurting. It would help.
Yep.
And then, don't say things when it's not appropriate for you to say to a depressed person. Like simply terms, it's nothing lah, go and watch a movie lah, shopping lah. I think it's nonsense. I tell you, if a person suffers from depression, this kind of statement doesn't help.
Yeah, it's diminishing their
seriousness, their
problem.
feeling. So if you have nothing to say, keep your mouth shut up. Just sit beside him or her and to be a partner, so-called friends with her. Keep your mouth shut up. Don't do that. Don't do anything if you don't have. Don't say anything if you don't know what to say. And then something you can help. If you want to help your brothers and sisters, advise him or her to read Psalm in the Bible. Psalm is very helpful. So when I suffered depression, I can tell you, it's more than the years I spent on Psalm for that 2 or 3 years. I read Psalm every day.
Yep.
Every day. From 1 to 150, from 150 to 1, from 150, because I find it very, very comforting and very encouraging. Actually, David was
depressed. You read his Psalms, you can feel his sadness.
I think his depression was quite serious,
Yeah.
And I thank God for it. He didn't commit suicide.
Yeah.
You go and read Psalm 38. I tell you, friends, go and read Psalm 38. If you have time today, go back and read Psalm 38. You can see in my books, I analyzed Psalm 38 also. Well, I think David, he still can write Psalm 38. Something amazing. Because it's a typical pattern symptoms of depression. David, go and read Psalm. So what you can do is you pray and then you use the word of God to comfort him and then to support him, to be partner with him or her. So actually the church can do a lot of things. What I want to emphasize is the church need to throw the awareness. Awareness is a key point.
Yep. Avoid over spiritualization.
Over spiritualization.
Yeah, true.
I don't think the demon is that powerful. I don't believe that.
Yeah. I think this is a very interesting topic that we have today. Maybe in the future we might do part 2 on it because there's so much more that we can talk. But I think time is a constraint. But thank you so much, Reverend Ho, for your time and for your very personal sharing. And if you want the book, a copy of the book, and if you can read Mandarin, you can easily drop us a message, all right, on our MEC page or what, and then we can direct you to the person who can pass you this book. But thank you for tuning in to us for today's podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. God bless you.